welcome to Conquering Mouse Scrapper with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with another episode of Mini Mondays. And today we're doing Sailing the Pink Sea. So I'm using up my pinks and grays together. I love that color combination. And we're just going to have a little fun with this very traditional block that is wonderful for scraps. Really cool for scraps. So all you need is two darks, a medium. Yeah, two darks, a medium, and a light. So, and then you've got the background, right? So this is just such a cool little one to do. Anyways, before we get started on this, let's do our shout outs. Cole Whitaker. There's a few ladies in our Discord group under Facebook that were working on Cole Whitaker's frog. Wow, I was just blown away by what they were doing. And I guess he runs these sew-alongs on his channel as well, and some of his stuff is just like mind-blowing. So you guys have got to go check out Cole Whitaker, and his YouTube link is going to be in our show notes, as well as Tasha Quilts. Natasha has just a fun voice. She loves playing with fabric and doing all sorts of cool things. You guys have got to go check her out. If you haven't checked her out, go now and then tell both of them that I sent you over there. And it'll be just a wonderful little surprise for them. Now, we here have a Facebook group. So if you're part of that Facebook community, please come join us. We're a warm and welcoming group. We have, like I say, this virtual sewing room hosted by Discord. We have all sorts of fun community chats and exchanges and fabric exchanges by country to keep postal costs down. But the admins say, please agree to the rules, please answer the questions, because this is what they're trying to do, is to make sure that everybody is in there is a quilter, and we don't let the scammers and the bad people in, the riffraff. We don't want riffraff, we want quilters. So that's very important. Also, I speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups over Zoom. And I no longer have a trunk show of any kind or anything like that. I give my quilts away to charity now. So yes, if your guild or group is looking for a free speaker, I'd be happy to speak to them. Make my best accommodations. Now, you can reach me through the About tab, or you can reach me through the Facebook group, and I'll be happy to make an accommodation for your group. Also, shout outs. If you guys see some quilting channel, working hard, having fun, lovely voice, hey, send them my way. I would love to give them a shout out. But don't tell them. It's between you and I. We'll be sneaking around doing something fun. That's the only important thing. Now, I have been fortunate enough to be involved in 2 collaborations this spring, summer, and fall. And the first one is the Quilters Challenge that I got involved with. Now, this is Michelle from Bits and Pieces, Deb from Sewing with Debbie, Sam Alberts, Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting, Kelly from Quilts Plus, and Future Cat from New Zealand. And we have had so much fun. What we do is we throw out a theme, and now what does that theme mean to you? And what are you going to do with it? And what ideas is it going to bring to the table? I have just been blown away by my other collaborators, and we're challenging each other, and we're also challenging the people that watch us. So we're seeing some lovely stuff coming out of that. So it's like, that's really, really cool. The other collaboration is with Handmade by Ying with Donna. Now, Donna has assembled a bunch of us together that are all going to teach back to basic courses or little classes online. So you want to subscribe to all of us, like the Quilter Challenge and the Back to Basics, right? So you don't miss content, right? Because that's really important. You don't miss content. Also, the So Yeah Brothers are running their quilt charity drive for Alaska. It ends August 15th. Now, I'm going to have their .com and their YouTube channel, so you can go get more information. I wanted to make sure that they got another platform for advertising, that charity drive. And people that participate do have a lot of fun with that. We also have our Zoom sew dates, and the first Saturday every month from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'm in Alberta, Canada, so that's what time we're doing this. Also, helping us out, it would be so great if you guys could make comment, thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and hype. Hype is new. You do it on your phone. Any and all of those things, what they do is they help drive our analytics so we can continue giving fun-free patterns to quilters everywhere. I mean, we're just having all sorts of fun coming up with all these fun ideas. And I think that's about it. Yes, I think that's it. Come on in, let's get to the sewing of Sailing in the Pink Sea. Okay, we're at the sewing machine, and there's all the stuff we need for foundation paper piecing. And I know some of you are going, well, why don't you just start just regular piecing? Rotary cutter and a ruler. Half a quarter ruler is really nice to have. Paper scissors to cut your pattern apart. Of course, that's always a nice must. Stitch ripper. If I make a mistake, I'll stop sewing and I'll show you how to unpick it. Because you pick from the fabric side. Now, I took a tracing wheel and marked my lines. So I have little bumps on the back, so I can kind of tell where everything's supposed to go, which is always really helpful. I also have a little bit of pins. Tape is your friend in case you really mess up bad, because that's never happened, Why would we need tape? You need tape. So we got our 5 pieces here. And what we're going to do is I've kind of pre-cut these. Now I'm using a stripe for the sail. Now a sail is, A1, A2, A3, or, A, B, C, whatever. It's always going to be the middle one. Well, if we put this way and we go 1/4 inch down from where we want to be, and we kind of center it, then we know we have all sorts of stuff hanging over. And we're going to do this on all of them. Oops. We're going to do this on all of them from the other side, because then we can trim C1 and C3, right? So we're kind of making sure that our little sailboat has all the right stuff, And it's easier to trim. It's easier to trim if you've got just a little bit of... Now, I have pins. So I always have pins handy, right? So because I have pins, I tend to grab my pins. If you have glue, like Elmer's school glue or something like that, that's not, that's what you can use, right? That's a perfectly fine option to what you can use. No, I go the other way. Let's go this way. And that way we're just keeping everything the right way. Now, a good 1/4 inch down, make it even, put this in, there we go. So I've just now put this in place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is the dark center, and I do have a dark center, so I'm just going to put this down and pin it in place, because that's the one we're going to work. Now, I'm just going to trim it in place at some point here. Hang on. Let's get this trimming done first. So, because I've done this with all of my fabric, all of my paper, right? It's really easy to push this out of the way and just trim off what I don't need. Right? And I put this in a pet bed, right? So I'm not, we're not wasting fabric. We're not, just throwing it out or anything, Then I do just one side on all of them, just to make sure I've got the right thing going on. There we go. Is that down far enough? Yes, it is. And there. I like doing stuff, the same type of task, keeping doing the same kind of thing over and over again. So that's why, I guess, quilting is appealing, because when you're doing these. Now this is one of these blocks. It's a Y seam. It has a Y seam in it, and yes, it's a little more complex than the average one, but it's doable. It's still very, very doable. And we're going to put these all like this. And this is our light pink, or the background color that we're going to use. And we're going to make sure we've got good coverage, and we need it to be about that long. So we're just going to rough cut. Now, did you see what I did? I took the pattern, right? And I kind of line this up so I have coverage from this side and up. So I know I need about this much. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. So I'm going to make 4 cuts like this. So basically what you're doing with foundation paper piecing is you're pre-cutting this unit, right? And because you got 2 sides, you want to make 8, right? 8 of them. And there's another one. Of course, you could have got the world's tinier, could have got some tinier scissors to do this with. It would probably have been really good. So you want to make 8 of these. There, and I kind of pre-cut, pre-measured, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it just makes my life easier, right? So now I'm going to put this to the side here because I might need it for the other one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in place so I have good coverage, and my pedal foot has taken off again. Okay, there we go. And now we've got the wrong foot on. Oops. We're going to change feet because that is not a good foot for foundation paper piecing. I'm just going to start over right here. Pull this up and out of the way. Get rid of that. There we go. Get the right foot on. It wouldn't be one of my videos if we're not changing a foot or having one fall off, right? Okay, so now we've just check it again. Make sure it's on the right spot. And we're going to start, we're going to hold it in place. Shorten your stitch length. I have got mine set for 25 to 30 stitches an inch. Sharp needle, important. And go 1/4 inch pass, hold it in place, and let it bounce up and down. Now what you've done is you've created an itty bitty knot. An itty bitty knot will help you, right, with placement. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's do the next one. Hold it. And 1/4 inch pass. Hold it. And okay, move that out of the way. And the next one. See, if you set yourself up right, you could do like quite a few of these just by having a bunch of them pre-cut. And they're cute patterns, you know, because it does look like a sailboat. Now, I would imagine there's all sorts of fun things. Now you could make this bigger too by changing your print ratio. You're printing it to 200. You could change to a 12-inch block, and it would help chew through some of those larger pieces. Oops, of scrap. You know, your boat could be a color, sail could be another color, background could be all sorts of fun stuff. Now, with this, now comes the cutting off part. Oops. There we go. We'll just cut the strings. There. Now, we're going to pull the pins out because we don't need them. Yay, we don't need the pins. And just move this out. Now we're just going to finger press this out of the way. Just because we can. And then we're going to fold on the other side and trim there. Right, so basically now we're trimming from the other side. We're going to get that other background. Again, dog bed. Dog bed participant, number 72. Okay, there we go. Just move it down just a hair. And push this out of the way. And we're going to do from the other side. Hold it. Stitch, 1/4 inch pass the line, hold it, and watch it go up and down. Perfect way to get your piecing done. Now I trim off those little bits too. There we go, finger press. Now I chose a batik, a pink batik. So pink, like batiks, a really good quality batik. Finger press is lovely. And I know some people don't like batiks. They don't like they feel waxy. They're not happy with the finish on a batik. But batiks can do all sorts of lovely piecing. And I've got nice lines on my sailboat. And I'm just going to move that down just a hair. Get this off. There we go. Yeah, this is kind of a simple little ditty. There we go. Okay, pull the pin. There we go. These are too small. These bits that I'm cutting off are far too small to do I don't know, crumb blocks. Like, they're too small for the crumbs. They're not big enough for crumbs. So, and crumbs and strings and, you know, stuff like that's all up for grabs in my sewing studio. Right? Like, once it does its thing, you know, once I trim off, let's say, all the pink around the edges and that's all going into a dog bed. You know, that's not, you know, it's not big enough for me to worry about, and I have lots. So, you know, not that we waste fabric around here, because we certainly don't know what that is all about, wasting fabric. But I try my best not to throw stuff out willy-nilly either. Okay. There. Now, 1/4 inch pass, up and down a few spots, the same place. Okay, get this a little bit more breathing room in between everything. There we go. Now we're going to we're going to press this the other way now, and we're going to put in the dark gray. Now, I have 4 pieces, and it's really oversized, but it works. That I found, and they're all the same. So that worked even better. It works. It works. It works. Now, you're going to sit there and go, wow, some of that's pretty shy. Yes, you're right. It is. But it will work for what we're doing. Okay? So I'm just going to run this under. There we go. There we go. Just like that. Get this out of the way. Flip it over. Pull that. Very simple. Now, if you were doing an entire quilt, you would line up all of, you know, all your backgrounds, all your whatever you were going to do for your sail. And those sail pieces, like I say, you know, I pre-cut them, basically. And another dark. That dark is way too big, but oh well, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It goes right across, really nice. There we go. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. I have so much of this in little pieces here and there and all over the place. I was like, I probably pulled bigger ones, but that's okay. That's okay. And you push that back just like so. There. Okay. And the last one now gets its boat bottom. There. Okay. Here. Now, you go through. Yeah, it's a bit big, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, because I'm going right across, I don't stop and do a knot, right? Because there's enough overhang here between these pieces that it's going to be fine. Now, I'm just going to finger press this out of the way, just like so. Okay. And now we're all going to do one side or the other, right? Kind of, you know, just pick your one side and do your trimming. And you're going to need 8 pieces of pink. Now, oops. Ah. Okay, this is big enough for me to put back the crumbs. So I will be putting it back in there. So I'll be putting this piece back into the crumbs. I'm not going to waste it because it's a larger crumb, but the other ones are too small. Okay, so now, what have we got here? We've got to go up and over. So I've got this strip. So I'm going up and over, right, to cover. And I'm going up about there. So I'm just going to quickly mark off 1, 2. Okay, that's 4. This gives me 6, because I got 6 pieces. And that's 8. That's 8, right? Yep, that's 8. Okay, so now we've got our next bit of background to sew on. And you want to sew it so that it, you know, there's a little bit hanging over. Okay, oops, I'm going to get this out of the way. There we go. And you want to go right into a 1/4 inch past. Perfect. Now you just want to keep repeating that. And like I say, you know, every one of these is kind of the same, I guess. You know, you do one side, then you hop to the other side. I mean, that's, for me, that's the efficiency of it, of this. But there, that gets kept. Goes into the pet bed. This gets put here like so. This is going to cover, right? Yes, it is. Big time. It's going to cover. Lovely. There. There we go. Here. I suppose to, you know, like there's, this is, you get into a rhythm of press, trim, sew, press, trim, sew, press, trim, sew. And that's such a nice rhythm to get into when you're doing a lot of these, right? You know, that you've got that lovely little repetitive action. And that's why I think a lot of people, that's why people fall in love with things like foundation paper piecing, is because it is very, you know, what could be simpler than press, trim, sew, right? There we go. We haven't done anything crazy yet. No crazy yet. It's coming. The crazy is coming. The crazy is coming. And which way? It's this one. It's this one. I know. What's this one? Yeah. What am I doing? Oh, duh. I could have went off in a different angle. I suppose that would have been fine too, but I like uniformity. Some of these are a little tough to pull apart, but they're crumbs. They're crumbs afterwards. Don't get all crazy about this. It's just, they're crumbs after. They're going to be lovely crumbs. Okay. There we go. Just like that. Just like that. And now we're going to do the other side of this. Here we go. Oh, so we have kind of all up in the air about summer plans for kids and camping and everything this year. It's one of those years where you don't know where you're going to be or what you're doing, and that's okay. I mean, we'll get to see the grandkids a couple times this summer, so it'll be nice, good visits, good visits. We'll be staying in touch with them very close this year. And, yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's going to be a different year for sure. My husband and I were talking about traveling through Canada because we hadn't seen the provinces yet. Neither one of us has seen the Maritimes, and I understand those are from everybody that has done that trip, right? They think it's the best, and I was kind of like, ooh, that would be nice to go do, but I don't know. We're kind of are we going to have time to do any of that? Is a different question altogether now, but that's the fun of being retired. You can kind of go whenever you want, really. Because, I mean, I am retired. I could, we could say, well, no, we're going to go do this year now. Okay, here. There. There we go. Nice. Nice and neat. There we go. And one more on before we have to put on that dark pink. That dark pink is kind of a bright pink, but it'll work. When I was in Victoria, BC, British Columbia, Canada, you would see the pink sunset, and it would make the ocean, the light would be reflecting pink. So it would make the ocean look pink, right? And it was kind of a very cool effect. I mean, if any of you have ever been in or around the ocean areas, I mean, that sunset is just remarkable. Okay, now let's get this. Let's get this all last bit and get on the dark pink. We get the sea into the boat. And now we've got a boat. Everybody kind of sees the boat thing now, right? You kind of see that little, oops, like this, that boat. Okay, so it's kind of a strange little boat, but it's very cute. It's adorable. One sail, one striped sail out. That's pet bed, it's too small. Okay, there we go. And there we go, we enter that right across. Okay. Now, we just continue right across the entire block. Just like that. Very, very simple. And I'll show you in a sec. Oh, wait. I'll show you in a sec what that looks like. Let me just get another one off here. Oh, there we go. Let me trim it this way. I'll just end up slicing off my fingers or something nuts like that. That would not be cool. No hand slicing. See what I mean by bright pink? It's just that. And I picked kind of a fabric that's got like wavy things, so it kind of takes off. But another thing too that most people don't realize, you get so far into the ocean and there's no light. Once you hit the depths of the ocean, it's black. It's like totally black, and it's kind of freaky because you never know what's coming at you. I have never been down that far, but I have been told by people it's really black down there. You know, get to a certain depth and it's like, just goes very, very dark. Because I guess light can't penetrate that far down from our sun. So that's what's making it so dark. Okay, here we go. There. Line that up, center it a little bit. Okay. And last but not least, the last one, yay! And we are done piecing. Now, we've shown Y seams, and I can't remember if we've shown Y seams on like paper piecing. It's a similar technique. It's a little more fussy, but you know, it's just a very quick, fun idea. Just a minute, get that out of the way. Okay. Okay, now all the sewing is done. Okay. There. So all the sewing is now done. What you do is you give it a good finger press. Make sure. See your pink. I know it doesn't look like anything until it's actually trimmed. But it is cute. It is going to be very cute. And there we go. And I'm going to take this one off because I'm going to need it right away. There we go. So there's all four of them. And now what we're going to do is we're going to trim it. Now this works out to 6.5 inches square. I'm going to put that over there. That can go back into the pet or the crumb bin. From the crumb bin back in because it's big enough. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this, and I have to get rid of that pin, don't I? I have to get rid of that pin because it's not going to work. Okay, so right now, just like this goes back into the crumbs. And I'm going to move this because I'm just going to put this back, there, just like that, back down, so I get the right size. So I do need the right size. And it's kind of I think it's 3 inches, not quite 3 inches or something silly like this. So it's a kind of an odd, okay. It is 3 inches, just like a hair under 3 inches. We're talking like 1/32 under 3 inches. That's weird. Anyways, okay, there we go. Another piece and another piece. There. It's just under. Okay, so we're going to take all of that and put this back. Okay, so I don't know how much film we lost, so I apologize for that. I was chatting away and I looked up and it was like, we're not recording anymore. Okay, so I cut out the gray. Now the gray is like 1/32 short of 3 inches. You could probably get away with a 3-inch square. So basically we've trimmed all our blocks. Now it looks like little sailboats. So how we're going to do this is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to line this up just like so. And we're going to make sure it's centered. So we got little itty bitty dog ears hanging off out of both sides. Right? And you put one on one side and one little boat on the other side and look around. There. Now, that works. Well, we've just got to wiggle and wiggle and wiggle and then just, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Get it in there and sew it. I can't even remember what I was talking to you guys about, and I realized, oh, I lost footage. Oh well. It's not the first time, and you know, once we lose footage, there's really nothing we can do about this, you know. It is what it is what it is. So this is what I've done, right? I've created 3 units. Now what I'm going to do in the back is push this paper up and out of the way. And then I'm going to peel off, if I can, I'm going to peel off that paper edge. Because that's going to prevent me from being able to see my seam really well. Like where I have to pivot, my pivot point. Right, so I'm just taking it off. Now I want to push this pink open. Just you want to open that seam right here. Oops. So you want to open the seam. Now, if your stitch plate has a little hole, this is where you're going to have the huge advantage. Because when you're putting this in, you're going to go like this, matching up that outer edge, right? And the little hole will allow you to pivot. Okay, so here we go. All the way down to right dead center, right in where those 2 pieces of fabric match. Now you don't want to go, like you want to go back maybe a stitch just to reinforce it, or 2, and hand crank it into place. Okay, now I'm going to get the rotary cutter out of the way so I don't cut my fingers. You're going to take this and smush it so that it gets out of the way. And it's a little hard to do sometimes because it is, because it's, you know, some of it's paper, some of it is just, oops, now where did it go? Hang on, right there. Boof, okay. Is that over enough? Yes, it is. Is this over enough? Hang on. Let's get a pin. We just see with a pin, we drop in 1/4 inch right there. And we drop in right at the corner here, and at the bottom. And are we up and down? Yes, we are. Let's just poke that in place. Let's just put that in place and be done. Okay, now you're gonna sew 1/4 inch all the way to the other side. Yeah, there's no paper on top, right? To give you a pivoting point, right? But you use your needle to do that. So then you go back to this. And you sew straight off. Now, here we go. That's what that looks like. Now, I open this up, right? And I make sure that goes up, right? And I mean, and this goes up. Right, because that's going to give you that perfect little flattened Y seam look, right? I know you're sitting there like, oh my God, it is possible. Now, we're going to do this again. Okay, so this goes under here like so. Now you can draw a line here on your fabric if you need to. That works. But it is such a interesting technique. If you've got a little hole stitch plate, it works best with this method works best with that little hole. If you have a smiley mouth for a stitch plate, you may wish to use the traditional way of doing Y seam. Okay, so I'm going to go up and I'm going to go hand crank right to that point. Yes, I did. Hand crank back 2, go forward 2. There. And now I've created a little knot. I'm not going to have a hole. I'm not going to have anything, right? So now I want to pivot with the needle down. Pivot with the needle down. And you don't want to stretch or distort that black. But you want to go in at 1/4 inch here, where that needs to drop. Oops, and I lost my pin. Suddenly my pin jumped out of my hand. And there. And you just want to, oh, look at that, it even laid flat here. Okay, All right, so now you want to just do a 1/4 inch. Like I say, you could draw it there, or you could do whatever. Yeah, boof, right there. Go back 2, 1, 2. I forgot to do the back 2 the other side, but that's okay. And now we're going to pivot with the needle down again. Oh my goodness. All this pivoting. Okay, there we go. Nice, neat. There. There. And just like that, we're going to push this out of the way. I'm going to open this seam, because it's kind of important that seam get open. And we're going to open these seams, because that will help this opening that seam will help your Y seam lay flat. It's in good shape already, but it'll help it lay flat. Okay, and we're going to do a victory lap, or we're just going to do our stay stitching around. Now I'm going to make sure it's closer to 30 stitches an inch. Okay. There we go. And we want to sew these open. We want to make sure that they stay open. There. Now, if you wanted to make this a 12-inch block, as you find working with minis a little daunting, you know, yeah, yes, definitely. Print at 200%. It's going to be over 4 pages of paper when you do it at 200%. And then remember to adjust your seam allowance to back to a 1/4 inch. Like you've got a stitching line and you've got a seam allowance line. Your seam allowance line is going to be a full 1/4 inch too big. Okay. Now, here we go. And just let me pull that out. And everything here, like, just will come out in a heartbeat. But look at that. Hey, look how pretty that is. Okay, so let me give it a good press. Make sure everything's just lined up lovely. And we'll get to our ta-da moment. So here we are sailing in the pink seas. Now you could have done this where you put the dark and made it into a triangle. Yes, that it would have made this block easier to assemble. There's no Y seams or anything else. But I just like, if I can eliminate a seam, I can usually then eliminate some bulk. So these come apart very quick with the tracing wheel helping puncture the holes as well as a sharp needle. That's important always. And they don't take long to peel. They really don't. I've peeled entire quilts in front of the TV, you know, watching Netflix with my husband. So this is kind of where we're at. Sometimes he helps. What a sweetie, eh? So anyways, this one was so much fun to come up with. We are going to do some other things on Monday as well. Like I have some fun ideas, you know, every once in a while I'll do just a Make It Monday and make something other than a quilt block. And, you know, just have a little bit of fun with where we're going on this channel. So anyways, you guys, I want you to stay well and take care until we see each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.